Wales 2, Iceland 2. Oh, what a weird game. Definitely polarizing halves. I mean, Jesus, first half was, couldn't have gone any better, really, right? Going into the half 2-0 up. Some of the football we played was very, very impressive. I wasn't really shocked at, how we went into the game as far as personnel formation goes. We played a 4 at the back away to Montenegro last month, and we got a bit of success with it. Although it was a little bit different, where Nico was playing as like a right winger in front of Connor Roberts. But yeah, this time round, flat back 4, Connor Roberts right back, Nico left back. Roden and Davis. Ollie Cooper came in to start, which I thought he played really, really well. I thought he did. First half he did well. Second half, nobody really played well, but we can kind of get into that. Partnered by Jordan James because of the absence of Ampadu. Wilson in the 10, Sorba one side, Brennan the other, and Kiefer up front. On paper, I think this was probably the best team we could put out, realistically, for this type of game and challenge. And yeah, I mean, it just all started so well, didn't it? Nico's 2 balls over to Wilson. His first one gets cleared off the line. Brennan taps it in. 7 in 7 for him now, which is just mental. And then, it kind of, basically a carbon copy version of that goal, where Nico played in Wilson for the second. And at that point, we looked good. We looked really, really good. Some of the pockets, the half spaces that Wilson was getting in on in the first half, where Connor Roberts was coming inside if the ball was over on the left side, one of our, centre-backs or even midfielders would find Roberts in here, and he would then, offload the ball to a Wilson who was sort of floating in this area to get Brennan one-on-one. And he had a lot of joy first half, Brennan. And we'll get into all the substitutions and whatever shortly. But yeah, obviously got himself a goal, tap in, but you take them, they all count. Sorba, I thought, was quite quiet first half. Not much really went down his side, to be honest. It was all orchestrated with, Wilson coming into these half spaces, sort of on the half turn, running and kind of playing in Brennan to go one-on-one and, create chances that way. And it worked. It did work. And second half, Sorba came alive a little bit more in the first 15 to 20 minutes. But yeah, things work well first half. Iceland didn't really have an answer to our to the way we were playing. I wouldn't say we controlled the first half, but I definitely didn't feel like we were under much pressure at all. I think one word that describes Bellamy's games so far, or us under Bellamy, is it's just quite frantic, isn't it? It never seemed like, okay, Turkey being the exception where we did really control that game. Montenegro, you could argue the weather played into this a lot. But today, it just felt like, even though we were quite comfortable in the first half, it still felt like it was quite frantic. That was the overarching, sort of way I would describe the whole game, especially the second half. And we'll definitely get into that. But yeah, I think it worked relatively well. I don't think we controlled the game as much as we'd probably like in that first half. But going into the half 2-0, you take that all day long away from home. And then second half, Brennan comes off at half time. I know he took that, that dodgy yellow card, which means he's going to miss Monday. What reason does Bellamy have to bring off Brennan at half time? If he's injured, fair enough. We don't know yet. But if he's not injured and you bring on Wes Burns for Brennan Johnson, something's up, because it doesn't matter. He can't play Monday anyway, Brennan. So it's not as if you were saving him for anything. Okay, were you saving him to not get sent off? Maybe. I can kind of see that side of things. I don't really want to just dig out players for the sake of it, but Wes Burns did not offer anything in that game. He nearly cost us the game twice, I think, with balls that he was playing into really bad areas, and their forwards were getting some serious chances off it. And yeah, he just couldn't get going, Wes Burns. And it's not easy coming into international football. He's been out for a while. I get it, but ultimately, I don't know why Bellamy's thrown him in there personally. I think that's a really weird time of the game to bring Brennan off, unless one of those reasons are valid, like we've mentioned. But why not bring on okay, I know Mark Harris is not a winger, but Kumas, you could have put Sorba on the right if you wanted to, go Kumas on the left if you really wanted to make a half-time sub like you did. I just thought it was strange. And second half, we just completely lost control, didn't we? I couldn't remember us stringing more than 4 passes together. It was really bad, and that sort of frantic description of the whole game applies mainly to that second half. We could not absorb pressure in a way that was effective, and yeah, every time they'd attack, it was mainly down this left side where Connor Roberts was getting, I mean, it happened a few times at the end of the first half, but second half, we saw that second goal go in where he's chasing. The first touch of the left wing was really good, and Roberts, unfortunately, he's not the most athletic, and once that left wing has got, a yard on him and got his body in the way, it was really hard for Roberts to recover, and he's sort of squared it, and he's come off Danny Ward, he's gone in for an own goal. That was the second goal, of course. First goal, short corner. We didn't react well enough as a team, and it's a good finish. Ward ain't doing anything about that first goal. But for the second goal, I don't know if you've probably rewatched it, but like Joe Rodon sort of kneeling down, like as if he's doing the national anthem or something. I don't know what he was doing. Like Roberts was chasing shadows, and then Rodon was just sort of kneeling down, hoping that he would block the pass, but he was nowhere near the guy that ended up scoring. Well, I know it was an own goal, but you just have to watch it back. It was absolutely shocking bits of defending there. And we just collapsed, didn't we? We completely collapsed. There was no control in midfield at all second half. Jordan James, I think, had a good game. And I think, I would put Ollie Cooper in that category as well. But we were lacking experience there, right? I know Joe Allen weren't in the squad for whatever reason. So we weren't able to bring on anyone, basically, that can do, the Ampadu role with him being out. So I think we probably lost the game there in midfield with the lack of control. And it was just disappointing to see because, Wilson was non-existent second half. We could not get the ball to him in those half pockets and in those half spaces that were working in the first half. It was just a really, really frustrating watch. Ward made a couple of good saves, didn't he? The one obviously tipped over the bar and they ended up scoring from the short corner. You could argue maybe he should do a little bit better maybe on that second save, as in maybe pushes it in play and goes out for a throw-in or something rather than a corner, but that's just being really picky. I thought he did okay. Some of his passing was a little bit off. He nearly stitched up Jordan James with a bit of a hospital pass in here. James was trying to hook one around the corner and we got caught, but I don't know. I'm really not satisfied after watching that. Obviously, after the first half, I was very satisfied. I really didn't think, to be honest, Ward would start this one. I thought Darlow would start. I thought we would have needed his sort of, his reflexes and more of his goalkeeping ability rather than, Ward's sort of feet work like we saw against Turkey. I thought Ward would have played at home on the carpet at Cardiff City Stadium and Darlow would play here. So maybe he's switching it around this time. But I don't know. I am really questioning Bellamy's substitutions in that game, starting with the, Brennan coming off and bringing on Wes Burns where there was other alternatives. And then, I mean, the Cabango one worked out pretty fine. I think he did okay when he came on. But bringing on Liam Cullen, that was a bit of a weird one. Not that he had much time to do anything. I'm not saying Liam Cullen didn't do well. Like, he hardly touched the ball. But surely bring on a Kumas maybe or a Mark Harris. When we're 2-1 up, why don't you bring a Kiefer, maybe a Sorber off, bring on some fresh legs, have Lewis Kumas out here stretching him on the left wing and Mark Harris causing havoc up front and pressing that way where, to be fair, Kiefer played fine. He held the ball up quite well, but at that point, 70 odd minutes in, legs are going. Surely bring on some fresh legs in that sense. And I don't know, I think Bellamy lost control of the game as much as a manager can lose control. Like, he's not on the field, I get it. His players are, but we just never settled, did we, in that second half, which was, unfortunately, led to us conceding 2 goals. Second half, we really saw that Oskarsson, their forward that plays for Sociedad, really good forward, gave Ben Davis a tough time. Obviously hit the bar. So, you could see even at 2-0, before they'd scored their 2 goals, in the first 5 to 10 minutes in that second half, it really felt like there was a goal brewing and there ended up being 2. And it's just disappointing, really disappointing, because I'm not saying we ever controlled the game, but to be 2-0 up and draw 2-2, I think that comes down to how Bellamy, sort of set up in that second half as far as the substitutions go with Brennan coming off and who he replaced him with. Ampadu being out isn't Bellamy's fault, it's nobody's fault, right? Like, there's things that you can't really control there, but we really did lack a bit of experience in the midfield, and I know, if Alan wasn't fit, then Alan wasn't fit, right? There's no alternative there. And I don't even think Jordan James and Ollie Cooper necessarily played bad. They just weren't demanding the ball, and we weren't really playing out from the back enough or successfully enough to where they were able to get on the ball and find Wilson in pockets and progress that way, which happened in the first half but did not happen at all in the second half. Iceland made I think Iceland made 2 or 3 changes at halftime. They were quite proactive, and I think, yeah, we weren't. I don't think, I think we got sussed out a little bit. And I think I mentioned it a little bit on the channel already. Like, teams, managers are going to suss out Bellamy ball. Not to say that, like, he can't adapt, as in Bellamy, but, that Turkey, first 45 minutes, Turkey were blown away, right? After that, there's now footage of what Bellamy likes to do and how he likes to progress the ball and play out from the back. And Iceland pressed us very, very successfully in the second half and got their rewards for it. They just suffocated us. They really did. They made a few changes, went a bit more direct as far as their runners go, and it paid off. They ended up getting a 2-2 draw, and they could have easily won the game. They ended up hitting the post at the end. So, yeah, I'm disappointed. I'm really, really disappointed because I really thought this was an opportunity. My prediction was, 2-0. I genuinely thought we would win this 2-0. We were 2-0 up at half-time, and we end up blowing it. So I am gutted, to be honest. We've got Montenegro at home now to look forward to on Monday. There'll definitely be changes. Be intrigued to know, how many. Obviously, no Brennan Johnson because of the yellow card suspension, so that's, frustrating. Bit of firepower lost there. I'm sure Kumas maybe comes in. But yeah, let me know what you think of the game, lads. Let me know in the comment section. But at least we didn't lose. There's obviously, a bit of a silver lining, but when you're 2-0 up and you draw, it ends up feeling like a loss. So yeah, hope you did enjoy the video. Leave a like if you did. And I'll get a review out of the Wales versus Montenegro game on Monday night.